Hey, what's up? It's Patrick, it's Rose via Fire, and I want to talk about how I overcame social anxiety. You know what I'm saying? How I overcame social anxiety. Uh, I just want to start off by saying that let me explain. Let me just take it back real quick. Let me explain how I had social anxiety, you know what I'm saying, in the past. So, you know, I basically had a lot of social anxiety. I was even in school, man. Like in school, I was the person who didn't wanna do like a class presentation and this and that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I had this bad social anxiety because you gotta understand. Back then, I wasn't even confident in my English, man. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like this English is like my second language, so I wasn't even confident in my English. So automatically you could see how that could impact your confidence. You know what I'm saying? Especially English, not your first language, and the teacher talking about you got to do a presentation, and you seeing everybody talking like fluent English. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, bruh, my English ain't even all that. You talking about like, in my mind at that time it's like my English is not like everybody else English. So why you know what I'm saying? The teacher talking about you gotta do the presentation and this and that. It was so bad to whereas the anxiety was so strong. I felt like it's like dying was better than actually overcoming that anxiety. You know what I'm saying? You ever feel anxiety so strong to whereas you feel as though dying might be even easier than overcoming that? That's how I felt though at that moment. I really felt like dying was easier than trying to face this social anxiety. Looking back now, I'm like, damn, dying is was easier than facing social anxiety. I'm talking about when I'm put in a social situation, my anxiety was so strong. I was feeling like all type of emotions raging, strong emotions, bro. Like the strongest emotions you have ever seen, and you know, that's kind of how it was. I just had this strong social anxiety, and I was panicking every time I was put in like a social anxiety situation, man. But this is how I basically overcame my social anxiety. So, like I'm gonna just give you how I overcame my social anxiety. But a lot of people may be like, oh, but everybody, every different things might apply for different people. But this is how I overcame my social anxiety, though. So I started following God, man, when I was like basically like 17 years old. That's when I came into the kingdom. And how I overcame my social anxiety is that I went through a lot of stuff, right? Sometimes when you go through a lot of stuff in life, it just automatically just puts an end to your social anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going through so much stuff, I'm talking about just in life. You know what I'm saying? Have you noticed something about people who went through a lot of stuff? People who grew up in like, let's say they grew up in toxic environments or they grew up in like violent environments. Have you noticed something about a lot of them? They don't really be having that social anxiety stuff. You want to know why? Because when you go through a lot in life, just going through a lot of stuff, automatically your social anxiety is not even there for that. That's really what works out for a lot of people. When I came into the kingdom, man, God put me through so much. I was having nightmares when I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I was having like demons chasing me down in my dream, like trying to kill me and this and that. And I'm like, bruh, when you go through all type of stuff in this walk with God, and you go through attacks from the devil, and then you go through like, attacks from your family and, your toxic family, and then you go through, and then you survive this, you survive that. You surviving all these things. You got to understand, you're surviving this, you're surviving that. You're going through this, you're going through that. You're doing this, you're doing that. Bruh, you stop caring, bruh. I'm going to just be real, bruh. You just stop caring. You don't care no more. You don't care no more about no social anxiety. You don't care. And that's why, if you noticed a lot of people, man, who've been through a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about you got people, they been through this, they been through that. They come from a violent city. They come from a violent place. They made it out. They survived. God helped them make it out. Social anxiety, where? You know what I'm saying? Where? Like, you've been through so much stuff, bro. You done faced so many, like, you gotta look at it like almost like a video game. You done faced so many bosses, right? Like, think about it like in a video game. When you leveling up in a video game, right? You're facing this boss, you're facing that boss. You know, the first boss you might face, like a real boss, you might be like, okay, man, this boss is about to be strong. This boss is about to be a problem. But when you keep defeating this boss and defeating that boss and defeating this boss and you going through all this, you going through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, God will set you free from social anxiety just by putting you through a lot of stuff. Because when you go through so much stuff, you don't care no more. It's like your emotions die to a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, like, do I still feel nervous? Like, let's say I'm about to do like a public speech or something. Will I get nervous? Yes, I'll get nervous, but it don't stop me though. Like, because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It don't mean like you don't feel the you're gonna feel the emotions a lot of times, right? The emotions might not even go away. A lot of times the emotions don't even go away. It's just that you don't care. Like, you go up there, okay, yo, I'm nervous, but guess what? I don't care though. Why? Because I done seen a lot of stuff in life. You got people out there who done seen a lot of stuff, man. They done seen they done seen people die in their life. They done seen stuff go down. So you talking about like anxiety, bro? How you gonna go through anxiety? You done seen people you close to, they died, they passed away. You know, people got sicknesses, all type of hospitals, all type of problems with like people getting evicted. You're talking about bills. You're talking about like life. Man, when you're going through a lot of stuff, you don't care about no social anxiety, bro. And one thing about a lot of people who they haven't social anxiety, they probably ain't went through a lot. You know, they ain't went through enough to just build that themselves, man. Like, it's the reason why you care too much, because you probably ain't been through too much stuff. You know what I'm saying? You probably grew up, you know, you ain't really faced too many challenges in life and overcame them and overcome that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't really been through all those type of stuff. So that's probably why your anxiety is strong. But, you know, when you really start going through stuff back to back, and you keep making it through that stuff, the more you stop caring, the more you stop caring what people think, the more you don't care what people say. And sometimes God uses that to prepare you, right? He uses that to prepare you for like your ministry. It's because you're gonna have to be in a place where you don't care what people say. And the best way for God to set you free from that anxiety is to put you through a bunch of stuff. Bro, I'm telling you, people who've been through a bunch of stuff, they don't care, bro. Have you noticed that about people who've been through a lot of stuff? They don't care. Now, I'm not saying they mean and angry or anything like that. I'm just saying that they just don't care, man, about what people think and this and that. They don't care. If you notice something about people like them speakers, like, you know, you got speakers like, let's say, you know, them strong truth speakers, people who were speaking the truth for real. You know what I'm saying? People who was putting out like the real truth. One thing about them, when they speak, you could feel it in their voice that they don't care what people say. Like, when somebody speak, you could easily tell, oh yeah, they care what people say. You could feel it in their voice. People could sense it in your voice that you care what they say. Like, a lot of times people could feel it in your voice that you care what people say. But you ever see somebody talk and you could just feel it in their voice? They coming from a place of I don't care what you say. You could feel it in their voice. You could feel it in their presence. They speak with so much conviction because they don't care. Because they done seen so much and they have been through so much. They skin tough. They don't care nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's basically how I overcame my social anxiety, man. God put me through a bunch of stuff. Man, God put me through so much. I don't care. I was like, wait, social anxiety who? Social anxiety where? Like, it don't exist, bruh. I stopped caring, bruh, because when you survive so much stuff, you don't care, man. I'm trying to tell you, bruh. This works. This actually works, man. That's why God keep using it. God keeps using that because it's a classic. If God wants to set you free from caring what people think, social anxiety and all this stuff, he put you through a bunch of stuff. When God puts you, a lot of you people listening to this, when God puts you through a lot of stuff, if you currently have social anxiety right now, when God puts you through a lot of stuff and you overcome all that stuff, and God brings you through, yeah, you also ain't gonna care just like me. You ain't gonna care just like me, and you ain't gonna care just like a lot of people out there who don't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is, man. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Peace.